Jim, butter in the coffee. That's the key. That's what we've all been missing.
Butter in the coffee?
Buddy, it comes from a guy who's in charge of fitness. I trust his judgment. What do you think?
I don't know.
Okay, we're going to whip it up. I'll try one on the break. We have any butter downstairs, Matty T?
I mean, I would think it'd be like cream, wouldn't it?
That's what I said.
We keep Country Crock on stock.
Do we?
That's just the people that work here.
That's not the real stuff.
Well, it's not real butter.
That's fake.
Fake, it's margarine. I suppose you can get by.
Need some good Irish butter is what you need.
What is that?
What's
It's
that?
very rich.
Made out of potatoes?
Fatty.
Or was
But it's
made-
about the fat, right?
Yeah, it's about the
It's
fat.
about the fat. More fat and butter than cream.
I'm all about the fat.
I am too. So the Razorbacks are headed to Oklahoma City area, Stillwater, I guess, to be specific, taking on Oral Roberts, which has
The
a pretty short trip.
backwoods of Oklahoma, really.
I've been to Stillwater once. I didn't think it was too bad.
It's not too good either.
Okay, I didn't want to say that, but I guess so.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's amazing how they get, any good football players in there.
Yeah,
It's kind of like Starkville.
wow, you really
Saying that they pay?
Jim really doesn't like
I
Stillwater.
didn't say that.
Oh.
I just said that it's just interesting they get some really good football players in there. In fact, they get, I think, 60, 70% of their rosters from Texas.
Huh. Didn't know that.
A lot of plays in Texas.
Yeah, they
gotta
want to
go
go
somewhere.
up to Stillwater, Eskimo Joe's,
Yeah.
and
Been there?
I'm sure there's a Waffle House there.
If you want to please T. Boone Pickens for future potential job opportunities, it's not a bad move. So
Yeah.
what do you make of the matchup and the regional? Arkansas, you got to believe, has a decent chance to get out of there with the win, right?
Yeah, well, I think we know now we can take the regular season, we can take the results in the tournament at Hoover, and come up with the pretty, I would say this would be astute by anyone's standards, conclusion of the Razorbacks that if you can keep it to 3 games, if you can get through a 3-game series, not get stuck in the losers bracket, not have to play 5 or that kind of thing, they have a chance to win it. I mean, they have a great chance. They need to get a great start out of Trey Killian. Like we said, it was real funny. We said that Tuesday. It turned out, I guess Tuesday night, he turned in a great performance. I think the bullpen let Tennessee tie it, but he pitched a winning performance. I see he's 6-6 in his starts, although his record is 2-4. So he's given them some good starts, some quality starts. I mean, he goes 6 innings and allow, I think it's 2 runs or less, 3 runs or less in the majors, I guess. I mean, if you get a quality start, then it's up to your offense. You can't let him down. And Arkansas's got to score for Killian. We don't know about McKinney. Keaton McKinney's aggravated a hip problem, a hip injury, maybe a muscle or something that's bothered him. We didn't really know that much about it until he had to pretty much take himself out of the game the other night against, I guess that was the Florida game, but they came back and won. And it forced them to go to, I think, Taccolini had to pitch in that game. Zach Jackson has, got a lot of work those first 2 games. He's the best reliever they've got. I have to think that at some point Zach Jackson eventually becomes a great starter for them next year maybe, but he's been pretty stout as a reliever. And then after that, you just don't even know. James Teague has had good moments this season. He's got roughed up in some other moments, and I'm just not sure if there's another starter out there. So if you have to go 5 games, 4 games or 5 games through the losers bracket, it just probably doesn't bode well for them. If you can win the first 2 games, beat Oral Roberts and then probably Oklahoma State and get to the winners bracket final, somebody has to beat you twice.
Right.
You just got to win 1. So short series are good. Long series, the pitching's not like it was 2 or 3 years ago when they've gone deep into tournaments.
Trey Killian will be the lesser of the names on the mound, regardless of who he faces. Did you see the 2 potential starters for Oral Roberts? Guillermo Trujillo or Xavier Altamirano. couple of great names for pitchers from Oral Roberts, but most importantly, hopefully Arkansas gets out on top. The other interesting sidebar story, and would be a huge factor in round 2, if Arkansas can get out of there and Missouri State wins its regional, Arkansas is bracketed against the Bears in the second round. Of course, Missouri State goes 45-10. They will be an overwhelming favorite, I would think, to win their regional, but they can't be at home because they've already loaned their park out.
Well, they actually borrowed the park from the Cardinals, from the Springfield Cardinals. So,
what are they doing at their place? Did they not have a field?
Well, they couldn't host a tournament with the little field Missouri State used to play in.
Okay.
That I remember.
So they're using,
talking about a stadium that's like Dickie Stevens, you know.
Yeah, they're using Hammons Field this week, and they cannot use it next week.
Right,
so that means
Springfield's at home that weekend.
So they can't host a super regional. So if Arkansas were to come out of Oklahoma State's regional,
those two are bracketed. That's right.
Now, would they play a neutral field, or would Arkansas get to host then?
No, if the top seed can't host or was to lose, then it goes to the I guess the winner of the Stillwater bracket.
What if 2 seeds win? What if Iowa and Arkansas both won? What happens then?
I think it's still – I could be wrong about this, but the way I understood it, I guess Arkansas is higher seeded than Iowa.
And the overall?
I guess.
Okay.
I mean, you know, they seem to think up in Arkansas that if Arkansas was to win at Fayetteville, that if Arkansas was to win at Stillwater and – that they would get to host the Super Regional, even if it was against Missouri State.
Interesting. Well, that works out well. Oh.
What I don't understand is certainly this information was available to the selection committee, and yeah, it's great that they made Missouri State one of the top 8 seeds, but I mean, that was at the expense maybe of a couple SEC teams that could have been top 8 seeds, or
who would you have made a top? I mean, they already got what, 2 or 3?
Yeah,
LSU, Florida, two top 8s, I guess.
I know, but they could have had
Vanderbilt sure.
or Texas A&M.
Yeah, but I mean, if Missouri State had a great season, I mean, I don't have a problem rewarding them with a regional host, even though they can't be a super regional host.
I guess so. I mean, you know, it just kind of works against the. I guess it works against Missouri State.
Works out great for Arkansas.
You know, unless they could tell Springfield, hey, can you, play a couple of those meaningless games you guys play on the road?
Oh, Jim.
Oh boy,
cheap shot.
Well, I mean, you know, it's. I mean, they're playing 140 games, 70 games at home. They couldn't move 3 to Tulsa. I'm just throwing it out there.
Hey.
You know, be a good community sponsor, maybe.
Sure.
You know, good support from the community. Hey, we want Missouri State to be the home team.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, and again, no offense. I mean, but that level of baseball, I mean, I know they're trying to win a championship too, but it's not as relevant as some other things that.
It isn't possible for them to just, switch it up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. Yeah, my guess is they could probably pack, if they had 3,000 seats available for their series, that's probably plenty.
Yeah.
Because it's just a regular game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just a regular game.
For the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, let's see who they're playing. They're playing Midland, so that'd probably be hard.
I guess
they have to switch Midland. They've got Frisco and Midland at home.
But I'm going to guess Midland's fans are not pouring into north to Springfield to watch this game, so I can't imagine that they're going to need a pile of seats to have available.
The Springfield Cardinals draw pretty well. It's a pretty good town.
No, I'm sure it does.
League baseball.
Yeah, I know, but I think most people would probably support them. Making a little inconvenient.
See, had it been the next week, they could have either played the Travelers here. They could have flipped the games, or Tulsa's on Saturday. They could have flipped it somehow.
But do they not play Midland again later in the season on the road, and could they not flip-flop those?
I hope they do, but I would hope that their last game with Midland isn't June the 6th. I mean, that's kind of
you would think
screwy scheduling, but it could be.
Well, anyway, I'm with you. I would jump through hoops to try to help Missouri State if I was them, but so be it. Okay, so job one, though, of course, is Arkansas's got to get out of their regional. What do you know, if anything, about Oklahoma State? And I don't know anything about St. John's by any means. Not really that I know a lot about Oklahoma State. But anyway, so what? Anything else about that regional? Have you looked into that much?
No, except for Oral Roberts, and they do have a starting pitcher they could go with. It's got a sub-3 ERA. And I think that's always something that, kind of makes you do a double take, that they've got somebody they could put out there and, hold the offense down for the Razorbacks. That's going to be the key. I think I'll bet everybody, St. John's included, is going to bring a starting pitcher that can, deal a pretty good game. And it isn't a given that Oklahoma State's going to walk through St. John's. I mean, we've seen this happen before. Home team has a 4th seed in there and, gets shut down, loses 2-1, that kind of thing. I expect, because of that little stadium, the way I remember Oklahoma State, and I haven't been over there in, a long time to see baseball, but that stadium back in the day was kind of cracker box and a lot of offense. Depending on the wind, but you can put up a lot. You used to be able to anyway, put up a lot of runs, and I think we've seen this year the change of the ball has really helped offenses. You get the right wind, you get everything going for you right, you can see some pretty high-scoring games. That's the history, I think, of that. What I remember about the Oklahoma State program and playing in that little stadium. That thing's kind of just a little bit bigger than the old George Cole Field. It's not like Arkansas's home field now. I'm surprised because they've got such a baseball tradition over there.
Yeah, they do. It was not a banner year for the league, though. Texas had to win the conference tournament to get in. Texas's record, I saw the record and I was like, how did Texas get in? But then I realized they won the tournament. They actually beat Oklahoma State 6-3 in the final to get into the postseason. Otherwise, Texas at 30-25 was in big-time trouble about getting into the postseason. And it is an all-time low for the Big 12 on 3 teams getting in. And, of course, TCU is a national seed at 7 at 43-11.
Yeah, they're outstanding. Yeah. And we talk about a nice stadium. I've seen TCU Stadium, never seen a game there, but that would be neat to see. It's a good park. Good program. Arkansas's Tony Vanetti, who's an assistant coach, for Dave Van Horn, came from TCU, helped build that program and the talent. You can see Arkansas, getting stronger in the, the signees that they're getting in the last couple of years. And I mean, if Arkansas could just get to back to the consistency you're seeing TCU has shown in the last, 5 or 6 years. That'd be, fun to watch. And also Dallas Baptist, what a interesting. I think that's where Texas is going. I think they play at Dallas.
I'll buy that. We've talked about them a lot this year. They've had a great season.
They have always had. There's just a ton of baseball players. To play most of the year down in Texas, you see a lot of great players come out of there. Certainly the numbers are huge anyway, but it just seems like Dallas Baptist has always had this kind of team that I think they won a sub-regional before. I don't think they made it to Omaha. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know.
They were on the verge of it maybe 2 years ago, if not last year. But they've had over 20, 30 years. Dallas Baptist used to be that kind of team you'd bring up to a midweek series at Fayetteville and be lucky to win it.
Okay. Yeah,
they're that kind of team.
Sure.
They had either transfers or, some guys that may have fallen under the cracks because of the way baseball is with its scholarships. There's good players out there that Oral Roberts and schools like that can pick up. John Brown used to have a pretty good baseball program, too. They used to get some pretty good players. The thing I want to say before we get too far is, when are they just going to do away with this conference tournament? To me, the joke of this whole tournament was your first round is one and done. Then all of a sudden you change gears for a couple of days in your double elimination, which screws with some of the pitching staffs like Arkansas's, and then you're back Saturday, back to one and done and a Sunday championship. It's just odd to me that you would have to throw in this. Okay, we're going to be double elimination for a couple of days.
Yeah, this is a paraphrase, but basically Dave Van Horn said, I'm not really too upset about it. mean, it's like
I don't think
I'm with
anybody
you.
is.
No, every year we talk about this. And nobody really cares to win the thing. It is silly to even do it. You've already played 50 games. That's enough.
But I don't know how well, how much money they even made from it.
They can't be
LSU,
making much.
They can't be making much, can they? And
No.
even Alabama was there, and they didn't draw that well. I mean, Alabama played its home games in that stadium all season because they're rebuilding their on-campus facility. But you had Florida, who beat Arkansas the second time. Arkansas had beaten Florida once.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the split would be good enough to maybe get Arkansas into one of those 16 seeds the next day, but it just wasn't meant to be. I don't know about RPI, but I know that what isn't reflected ever in RPI and that kind of thing is how much you improve. You take a young team like Arkansas was in a lot of places in its lineup, and they improved. They're a much better team today than they were in March, but you're taking March results and making them equal to today's results. And I don't know, they used to do it better. The college basketball used to do it better, to where a team that obviously is better in, February gets seeded correctly because of how they played in February. Now it seems like they've just decided, hey, those games back at the start of the season are just as important too. And that's sort of true, but it's sort of not, because a young team, which Arkansas was, with a freshman starting pitcher having to carry a lot of the load in there, and some younger players. I still consider Benintendi a younger player. I mean, he's
only
a sophomore.
Yeah. I will say this about Oral Roberts. You want to talk about consistency through the year. 13 of 14 they've won. 13 of their last 14. They won the regular season title. They won the tournament title. They've had a great season. I mean, they could make as much a case as a number one seed as Missouri State could, I would think, with a 41-14 record. So, anyway.
Well, they've been on Arkansas's schedule in the past. So,
it isn't going to be an easy first round. And, without McKinney, Arkansas is going to have I would think, a tough time. I mean, that's a pretty significant
really
loss.
Spotty with, the starting pitching has not been the kind of pitching you're used to seeing with Arkansas, where they could trot out some of these guys who, hey, they're in the majors now. Drew Smiley or Keuchel, those kind of guys. You're not trotting out a guy who's that solid yet. But how about how many Razorbacks, both position player and pitchers, are having major effect in the majors now? I don't know if I recall a time when this many former Razorbacks at one time were, in the headlines. James McCann catching for the Tigers and, being one of the highlights on ESPN. And certainly we mentioned the pitchers. Keuchel just had his first loss. But you go down there's a lot. I don't have the list in front of me, but, it's been it tells you, there's been some awfully outstanding talent that have come through Fayetteville, and I know we're pretty sure Andrew Benintendi's another one that probably is going to have a great career in the
We hope so.
Sure will.
I do want to quickly mention, Jim, we're up against it. I've got technical
I got you.
Yeah, I got technical problems here going. I don't know. I thought it was 11:16, according to my information.
No, it's I think we have one.
It's 11:27
seconds or
yeah.
so.
But
Yeah.
I do want to mention, too, Henderson State, give them a little credit. They did win their first game in the NCAA Division II World Series, and they lost second game to Catawba. They'll play again tomorrow against Angelo State at 2 o'clock. So I want to make sure we give them a little bit of...
They play them again, and I guess that's a similar setup, too, where you've got two brackets and then try to get to the final that way. I'm of the old school, probably even before your time, when an 18 bracket, you saw everybody in a sense. You didn't play one half the bracket. I like it spread around better, but that's something for the past, just like Mad Men. Something for the past.
There you go. Jim, good stuff. We appreciate it. Again, Arkansas at noon on Friday, and because of the conflicts with our local program, that'll be on our sister station, 106.7. I'm going to try to get my computer issues worked out here. Jim, I appreciate the time very much. I went quickly. Thank you.
Later, Jim.
All right. See you guys.
All right, buddy. It's Jim Harris with Sporting Life Arkansas.
He's our go-to man. If you're ready to heat things up, Wendy's has got the lunch for you, my friends. It is Ghost Pepper Fries, new jalapeno fresco spicy chicken with those Ghost Pepper Fries. You can get the jalapeno fresco spicy chicken sandwich with that spicy chicken breast top with the Colby pepper jack cheese, diced fresh jalapenos, Ghost pepper sauce, red onions on a toasted jalapeno.